Druids being 2 troops in 1, they have unrivaled power with nothing but heroes. So let's break down how this all works and give you the best build you'll need to 3-star every base you see. Let's get started though with the best build for every hero, where you can actually be quite flexible with your options. Starting with the Barbarian King, the Giant Gauntlet and Rage Vial is by far the best for the Barbarian King in all use cases. The strength of this combo allows you to nuke sections of the base, which really helps attack. However, if you're having trouble with having your heroes move through the base, taking the Giant Gauntlet with Earthquake Boots or Spiky Bowl with Earthquake Boots are both fantastic options that can work pretty well. Next up is the Archer Queen, where I would recommend the Frozen Arrow plus Healer Puppet combo. This is great as she won't get targeted for the most part, and you won't have to worry about her due to her being healed by the Druids. This combo lets you have the healers support later on in the attack and the coverage from the Frozen Arrow, which is going to help as a whole. Other options that you have, like the Invisibility Vial with the Healer Puppets or Frozen Arrow, are good choices for those who just want to be sure that the Queen doesn't die. Now, for the Grand Warden, we're back to recommending the Fireball and the Rage Gem. I know people are probably tired of me recommending this at this point, but trust me, it's as strong as I'm saying it is. With an ability to clear an entire compartment by itself, it's a no-brainer to make this the cornerstone of your attack. Keep in mind that you do not need it maxed. You only need it to be level 18 at the minimum level. I know that might be a lot of ores, but trust me, it's a pretty good stopping point that makes it incredibly powerful. Finally, we get to the Royal Champion. This is where I would recommend the Seeking Shield with the Hog Puppets. This set is super consistent and gives you DPS and HP with very minimal drawbacks. However, you can still run the Royal Gem and Hog Puppets for instant healing upon the auto ability, or you can use the Seeking Shield with the Rocket Spear if you like to snipe buildings from a pretty safe distance. So with the best build out of the way, how can one use this strange army? Well, first we're gonna start with the Warden wand. Since there is no healers in this attack, you want to wait until the Warden takes a pretty good amount of damage before dropping the 2 Druids with him underneath that Rage Gem. This does lock you to getting this Fireball out in the 30-second window the Druids give you. Line up the Fireball to remove defenses like the Infernos, Scatter Shots, Eagle Artillery, or even the enemy CC if there's a defense pretty close to it. This should create one side of your funnel. While your Warden is walking, use the Siege Barrack on the other side of the base to cut off the funnel. This should help you move into the base with your heroes. Once both sides of the funnel are set, you can start to move into the base with your Barbarian King, Queen, support troops, and a couple Druids to get started. Wall breakers are a really good way to get into the base, so I typically recommend doing so on the first and second layer if you can. As for your Druids, you're going to use them in increments, so that way you don't really run out of healing, especially once you get to the core. This way you could heal the heroes and the Druids in bear form, which is going to prolong their life and keep them tanking. After this, you're going to use your 2 jump spells to move through the innermost part of the base. Try to keep using your rage spells to not just keep the healing going from the Druids, but also the power from your heroes. That way you can continue to move through the base quite easily. Not only that, but you have the Royal Champion that's going to be used on the back end. In this case, you're going to use about 2 to 3 Druids on her to keep her alive. If you are dealing with an enemy hero or 2, using Headhunters can definitely help your Royal Champion. Outside of that, bring in some minions to help clean up, which is going to prevent time fails from occurring and will help you get the 3 stars you deserve. So here's the army comp that I'd recommend that you use. If you want to take less Druids and take some baby dragons or use a different tank other than the Electro Titan, you can do that as well with this army comp. But now let's get into some practical examples of how you might use this army for real. Let's first start with a typical ring style base or anti 2-star. Pretty much, we're going to start off with the Warden wand. In this specific situation, we want to start down by the Eagle Artillery. There's some nice value around there. but in this situation we get locked on by 2 cannons. This way we can use our 2 druids and we can start removing these cannons. This is going to allow us to use our invisibility spells in order to get close to that clan castle, which then allows us to get the 2 infernos, the clan castle, and the eagle artillery. Now this is going to allow us to then set up the second side, or the cutoff of our funnel, with the siege barrack. We can use the Barbarian King as well to help control everything or help lure the Warden over with the heroes. This way we can have the siege barrack cut off one side and have the druids, the heroes, start moving in. Notice how I'm not spamming the druids and rather surgically placing them, so then that way we get an extension to the healing. An early rage is going to help the druids, alongside having the heroes within that rage is very much going to help. Other than this, we want to make sure that we're continuing to work deeper into the base. I probably could have held off on using my rage spell, but for the most part, we're able to get in. We have a lot of druids healing still, some in bear form, and some of those bears are being healed by the other druids. We have the royal champion going in with the 2 druids, which is going to probably then move over to other troops, but this is going to allow us to keep that royal champion alive while the entire core gets gutted by the giant gauntlet and all the other heroes in there. After this, we really don't have any more healing from the druids, but we do have the healer puppets from the queen, which is why I typically recommend bringing them. Other than this, it should allow you to very easily get through. While this might not be the easiest army, especially if you're not really in tune with the fireball, it's a pretty strong option. I just need to make sure that we have cleanup in order to allow us to 3-star a lot more consistently. Now, what if you're hitting an anti 3-star design? Well, pretty much it's going to be the exact same boat. In this case, we're going to start off with the Warden walk down closer towards the Scattershot and Inferno on this base. So instead of going for the Eagle Artillery, we're going for a bit lesser value, but the idea here is to either go in for the Scattershot or for the Inferno. In this case, we're going to be able to get the Inferno and a little bit extra. We don't really need that second Earthquake, so you could take that out for a free spell or a skeleton spell, etc. Other than this, we're going to set up the other side of our funnel with the Siege Barrack, which is then going to allow us to dive in for that Scattershot with our heroes. You can use the Barbarian King in order to help get him in, and this is going to help you in the long run. You just want to make sure though that once you have those funnels set, you can start to send in your heroes with a jump spell to be able to connect one part of the base. A lot of compartments are open, and an early rage with the druids moving up and allowing you to heal all of your heroes and everything that's moving around. You can have your royal champion at this point go in towards the back end. If she is going into enemy heroes, it might be a good idea to send in some headhunters, which is going to help her a ton after using her ability probably. Outside of that though, we're using our rage spells and the druids just sparingly throughout in order to keep all of our heroes alive. Unfortunately, if we didn't have that earthquake, we probably would keep our Barbarian King alive. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But you still see that we're able to very quickly move through, and we have so many of the bears alive that they're going to be able to tank for the queen, tank for the rest of the troops, and tank for themselves, which is then going to help clear through the rest of it. We've also got the minions, which are going to provide a ton of cleanup, which really makes this strategy go from it being fine in terms of possibly getting a time fail to now you're really not going to get a time fail. Otherwise, this is a really strong strategy. It's really fun. Definitely something I recommend trying out. It's really that broken. Hopefully this gives you a very fun and super strong way to 3-star Town Hall 14, but also YouTube says that this might be the best video for you to watch next, so I recommend checking it out.